Is Magic the Gathering dying? No, but I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, mostly negative, about the future trajectory of the game, which is what we're going to talk about today. I should also say that, I almost didn't make this video because it just took me so long to make it that everyone else and their mom had made this video. Prof made a video, Rebel made a video. A lot of people made videos about the future of Magic and a lot of the things I'm going to talk about in this video. So it's possible that in this rant, I'm not even going to say anything that's all that original, but these thoughts are my own. This is really what I think, and this is really something I'm worried about. And as you will hear towards the end of the video, it is changing my relationship with the game. So the main reason we're talking about this is Aether Drift. Now, admittedly, I was pretty excited about Aether Drift when I heard about it because I like vehicles. I was thinking there might be energy. I thought it was cool that Amonkhet was involved. I really liked Amonkhet. So I was kind of excited about it, but it's kind of weird, man. These vehicles just seem like a huge step in weird direction as opposed to vehicles that we've gotten in past sets. I'm really tired of seeing loot jumping through all these portals. And then the showcases, man, they are crazy. These borderless vehicles, they're kind of cool, but holy crap, what are these? I don't mean to offend anyone. Art is very subjective, but personally, I just really don't like how these look. They all kind of look very similar. It's hard to kind of tell them apart. And they're just wacky, man. They just don't look like Magic cards, which is a dumb thing to say in the days of Secret Lairs, but Secret Lairs, I've kind of always thought of its own thing. If you like this art style, this is your way to get in, but the fact that these are standard legal cards that are in the main set is really weird to me. And then maybe worse yet is this Japanese showcase style that they do. They've done it a couple other times before. They did it with Foundations. I feel like there's another time that they did it, maybe Duskmourn. And at first glance, they're not that bad. The art's very colorful and the text is technically legible, but I would also argue that these really just don't look like Magic cards. They look like they came from another card game. And this has led to Aether Drift being the first set in a long time that I just didn't care about. And no, it's not just these showcases. It's also just the weird factor of a lot of the mechanics and the art just really not taking itself seriously. But unfortunately, this just is not new. Last year, we had Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Look, we got a cowboy hat here and there and here and here and here and here. There's so many cowboy hats, and I feel like it just didn't bring anything all that interesting. We're leaning way too far into the memery and puns and stuff. And oh yeah, you can tell they're all in the Old West because they got cowboy hats and not taking Magic seriously. And then the set before that, speaking of hat sets, we also had Mirza Karlov Manor last year, and we have the detective hat here, and there's another detective and a detective and a detective, and it's just. Why? To me, Murders at Karlov Manor is even worse than Outlaws of Thunder Junction because there's a bigger gap in people who care about that. There are still people who like Westerns, but who nowadays is into the 1920s aesthetic of the detective hats and the fedoras? Why? And yeah, Bloomborough was awesome, but then we also had Duskmourn. Now, Duskmourn, I will give more of a pass to because it was very dark in some areas, and also mechanically, the set was a lot more interesting. It was more fun to play, but it was very polarizing too because it was the monsters were really cool, but then the people just don't seem to care. You're in an endless house of horrors, and this girl is doing backflips over the demons or whatever. She doesn't look scared. We got this guy. He's just some guy, and he's got nerdy glasses and a Game Boy Advanced on his chest. Why? And the reason this is all so maddening to me, and to me personally, I can't speak for everyone, the reason this is so ridiculous is that this is the in-universe stuff. This isn't even Universes Beyond. Universes Beyond, they're going to be weird. They're going to be wacky. They're going to try new things. There's going to be things that don't make sense within the context of the rest of Magic the Gathering. When we did, originally there was The Walking Dead, right? In the Secret Lair, Universes Beyond, and there were guns in the art. Or, there's cars in the background on Spider-Man and stuff like that. And that just is what it is. But now we're having to deal with that in universe. And I feel like this is intentional. Look at the release schedule. We've gone to now half of all sets are going to be Universes Beyond, and only half are in universe. I personally believe that they're doing this on purpose. It's self-sabotage, I think, to the brand of Magic the Gathering. Because all of these Universes Beyond sets, well, not all of them, a lot of them are outselling a lot of the in-universe sets. And then Wizards uses that as an excuse to keep doing more Universes Beyond, and which they can keep charging more for. By the way, they announced that even the standard legal ones that you're seeing here on screen, even these are going to cost more than the standard sets. But they can just say like, oh, well, no one bought Murders at Karlov Manor. Yet no one bought it because it was like offensive to everyone who liked Ravnica. I'm sure that most in-universe sets are going to do better if they just take themselves a little more seriously. Like, even like go back 2 years ago, we had like Wilds of Eldraine, which I really liked. We had Lost Caverns of Ixalan, which is admittedly quirky, but it stays within its lane, I think. And I liked that set a lot. And, you know, we had Bloomburrow last year, and I'm sure that these sets did moderately well. But by having these in-universe sets that are kind of flops, they can point to them and say, well, this is an excuse for us to keep doing more Universes Beyond. Because, like, now that half of standard sets are going to be Universes Beyond, that's a huge step up from what it's been in the past. We could also talk about how I don't really like the fact that Universes Beyond is coming into standard. I don't really want to spend too much time on that because I feel like that isn't really my main point, but like this is way more sets coming into standard, which is going to make standard theoretically more expensive because there's more sets and the Universes Beyond packs are going to cost more, but also it's just going to be harder to keep up with the meta. The meta is going to be changing a lot faster. Standard already changes really fast, which is why a lot of players don't play it anymore. And then you also have to worry about the narrative points of like, okay, so here's Lute, he's on his quest to save the multiverse. I don't know. I haven't read the story in a while, which is another problem. Like, by this whole not taking things seriously thing, it's caused a lot of people who, like myself, who does care about Magic lore to just not pay attention for a while. But now you have that while also having Spider-Man or Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I don't know what that's supposed to do for the narrative push for Magic, which has got to come back to bite them in the butt when they do their movie or their show or whatever it is that they're doing. Like, if they want to have those shows succeed, they need to be strengthening the brand of Magic the Gathering and its own lore and characters instead of, you know, Fortniting it where you got all these weird outside IPs coming in. And I'm not even like anti-Universes Beyond. I'm just saying that like that can't possibly be good by going from a couple Universes Beyond to half of Universes Beyond. That can't possibly be good for the strengthening of the IP to set the movie and the shows up for success, especially when you mix that in with the in-universe sets being kind of goofy. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Tarkir Dragonstorm, which is the next standard legal set, looks freaking awesome already. Edge of Eternities, I'm cautiously optimistic about. There's a couple things about it that have me worried, but in general, I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm cautiously optimistic. And, you know, they work so far in advance, right? Like, if people are very vocal about not liking all the Universes Beyond, you know, give it a couple years and they'll slow down. I don't think that's going to happen, but that is technically something that can happen. But even here lies a problem. Like, before we're even talking Tarkir, they were talking Final Fantasy. Now, I'm not going to be a Final Fantasy hater because I haven't ever played the game. I don't have anything specifically against this art style. I think it's perfectly fine, especially this Jumbo Cactuar guy. Like, this is my guy. I'm going to play this card somewhere. But like, they are building hype for Final Fantasy before we even talk about Tarkir. And Tarkir is going to be the first set in at least a year, probably longer, that we're actually taking Magic's story and IP seriously and not calling it a hat set or whatever. So the fact that they're jumping the gun and already previewing the next set, which is the Universes Beyond, doesn't seem like they are very confident in their brand. They are not excited about these characters and these worlds and these stories that they are writing themselves. And that's really disheartening for people like me who really like Tarkir and are excited for that set and like Magic's darker, more serious tone. That's what separated it from other games in the past. And I gotta say that the Spider-Man thing is really bothering me. I don't want to be too judgmental because like these are just like I can't even remember what they're called. It's like a display thing where you just have these cards they all put together. It really bothers me that Scryfall doesn't have them set up that way, so you can't tell here, but these all 6 cards go together and they make an image. And I heard some people giving praise to Spider-Man for having more of a comic book style art, but I gotta say, I don't like it. Because context matters, right? Like, if you have like a beautiful, beautiful painting from like 14th century, right? And then you display it in like a grungy bar with a heavy metal band playing. That just doesn't seem right. Vice versa, you could have a really, really cool piece of street art, but then put it in like the loo or something, and it's like, well, that doesn't really make sense either. Context is important, and I know that art is subjective. If you like this art style, that's on you, but that's where I see here is there is this cognitive dissonance in what I'm looking at and what I am playing. And I think that's why the art styles that we get in like Aether Drift and stuff are so offsetting to me, is because of this disconnect in what I expect Magic cards to look like. And I'm not like anti-showcase either. Like a lot of the showcase treatments I really like, or even if they are not my style, if I'm not a big fan of them, I can still be like, okay, yeah, but it's obviously still Magic art, right? This is rough though. And in a lot of ways, Spider-Man is more concerning to me because they got rid of the stamp. So if you haven't been following, in Universes Beyond, they've had this triangle stamp here underneath the card, right? And that's to signify that it is Universes Beyond, it's not in universe. But starting with Spider-Man, they're getting rid of that. It's just the normal holo stamp that you have on the normal rares and mythics in normal Magic sets. This, to me, is signaling that even more than everything else I already said, Wizards is just saying they don't care. They are okay with everything getting smushed together. And you know what? At the end of the day, maybe that's fine. It's all still Magic the Gathering in the sense that you're following the game mechanics. What makes the game great is that it's fun. And if these card designs are cool, it's still going to be like playing Magic. It's still going to feel like that, but it is getting weird. Now, I don't mean to be a party pooper. I have liked some Universes Beyond before. I think there are IPs that we can bring into Magic and it makes sense. And even if you want to go into things that I don't think really make sense in high fantasy, that's okay, because Magic the Gathering is the greatest game of all time. Its game mechanics are amazing, and that it makes it adaptable to theoretically anything. So you can make that argument, but there does come a point where things just don't feel like Magic. I've taken the moderate position on this basically since Universes Beyond started, but it's finally catching up with me. And I think the reason for that is because of Wizards' own seemingly disdain for their own IP. It's offensive that we went to Ravnica and it was a bunch of people in fedoras. It's dumb that we went to this new world and everyone's wearing cowboy hats. It's dumb to bring back Amonkhet and Kaladesh, now called Vishkar, and it's be like a Death Ray set with a bunch of really goofy art. There's a way that you could have done vehicles and a Death Race involving multiple planes that could have fit better into Dark Fantasy, but they didn't. They made it goofy. And even the sets that are coming in the future that look like they kind of harken back to original Magic of dark fantasy, high fantasy, things that, you know, got most of us into the game in the first place, it's overshadowed by more of these Universes Beyond. So I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a lot of things in the future that I am excited for in this game. And like I said, you know, if the SpongeBob Secret Lair has some banger cards in it that are fun to play, I might play them anyways, because that's at the end of the day, the most important thing is that the game itself is still fun to play. But I am finally feeling the strain. Even as someone who has taken the moderate position, I am finally feeling the strain and the pressure, and I'm having less fun, if I'm being honest. If you are subscribed to Geek and Seek, you probably know us from our Commander gameplay series. For like 2 years there, maybe longer, we were having a new episode of gameplay every other week. It was crazy that we were able to do that. And now we're doing like one every couple months. Now, a lot of that is just that life has gotten crazier. I had another kid. I have a job that keeps me busier. My band is putting out a record. So like, I'm just a lot busier than I was like last year around this time. But another reason for that is I'm just not as motivated as a Magic the Gathering content creator as I used to be. It's really easy for people to say, oh, I don't have the time for this or that. Sometimes that's true, but usually it's not. Usually you can just make adjustments to your lifestyle and find room for the things you really, really want to do. And that's how I've been able to do a lot of the things that I'm doing in my life. But that is why Geek and Seek has slowed down so much. I am hurting really bad with my relationship with Magic. I'm never going to stop playing. I'm never going to get rid of my cards. I still think it's the greatest game of all time, but I am so much less motivated than I used to be to make content. And a lot of that has to do with Universes Beyond, and a lot of that has to do with Magic the Gathering, Wizards themselves, seemingly not caring about the things that we as players and fans like. And yeah, someone's going to see this and say, well, Universes Beyond sells really well and gets a lot of new people into the game, which I'm sure is true. They do sell well. They do probably get new players into the game, but I also know people who have bought Universes Beyond stuff just because they like that IP and then never learn how to play the game of Magic and then never buy anything else again. And that has to be true with a lot of other people. So I'm not trying to be the old man yelling at the sky. I'm not wishing for the good old days per se, but I hope you understand my perspective. I know a lot of other people feel the same way, at least about some of these things. Just remember that we have the power here in a sense. If we personally really don't like a set, you don't have to buy anything from it, because no matter how many people complain on the internet, Wizards doesn't care if they make a bunch of money. So if you really don't like Spider-Man, if you really don't like Final Fantasy, just don't buy it. Forget fear of missing out. You're going to be okay. Proxy it if you have to. But that's the only way things change. And I don't like feeling like this. I love Geek and Seek. I love that we've done this channel for years. Yeah, I've been disheartened at times that like we've put a lot of time and effort into making good quality Commander gameplay and then like they get like 1,000 views, if that. So that's really disheartening. But at the same time, I've just enjoyed getting together with my friends and playing what I think is the greatest game of all time. So it's just really sad to me that my relationship with the game is changing, and so much of it has to do with Wizards pushing back their own IP, bringing in IPs that don't make sense, and making art styles that don't look like Magic cards. And there's so many things that it shouldn't have to be like this. It's really sad. And I wish it wasn't like that. And I hope things continue to get better. Maybe by being less focused on Geek and Seek and just, the handful of videos I still really want to make, just worry about those and don't feel like I have to constantly be making content and, taking it more seriously on like, this set's not for you. Well, okay, I'm going to start taking that seriously. Maybe that will help make my relationship with the game better. But yeah, that was the main thing. The main thing is like, I feel like I needed to give you guys an explanation as to where I am at as a content creator and why posting has slowed down so much. It's really just because Wizards' intentions have skewed my relationship with the game. With that said, though, I do have some gameplays that we've already recorded that I am slowly working on. I have some video essays I'm working on. I'm sure we'll have other stuff coming along, so make sure you subscribe if you would like to see that. And then if you agree or disagree with anything that I said in this video, let me know down in the comments, or if there's anything big that I missed. I will see you guys next time. Bye.